That's how we actually get you more money. To lie to you and tell you, we're going to tax these rich people. We already tax so much in LA, in California. I can't even comprehend taxing more. What's happening is we tax these people, and then other rich people, this champagne socialists, scammers, steal that money because they're all connected to the people taxing it. And then the people that should see the money, the communities, after the Boys and Girls Clubs, the parks, the actual infrastructure doesn't see that money because different rich people stole the money that was being taxed from the rich people.
Okay, this is not like something you have to really figure out. Elect more communists. Yeah. That's a communist. Now, if Barack Obama or any reasonable Democrat had anybody on their staff who had that on their resume, it'd be like a huge scandal. But this guy, this is just where we are. Like communism, I said it, it's a political philosophy, it's an economic philosophy. You're allowed to believe it, you're allowed to vote for it. Mm-hmm. Let's just not pretend that that's not what this is.
Bill Maher has zero patience for what Zohran Mamdani is doing in New York. And he made that crystal clear when he unloaded on him without holding back. Maher believes politicians like Mamdani have no place leading the Democratic Party, arguing that his ideas are completely out of step with mainstream voters. The takedown was sharp, relentless, and impossible to ignore. So hit that subscribe button, because this one is about to get intense.
The issue now that Andrew Cuomo is bringing up in New York is that he is a Ugandan citizen. Uganda is a country where they kill homosexuals.
So somebody who is a dual citizen can't be mayor of New York, or?
I would renounce, if I was the dual citizen with a country whose policy, government policy was we homosexuals, yeah, I would renounce that citizenship. Yeah. I don't, and to not, and he also can't.
I think that is buying into a fear. I think that is buying into a fear framework that is not good. It's not good for the country. It's not good for the country.
You shouldn't be afraid of that.
Maher goes straight to the heart of what critics see as a major contradiction in Mamdani's public image. Here is someone who presents himself as a strong supporter of LGBTQ rights while running under the Democratic banner. Yet critics have questioned his reported ties to a country where homosexuality remains criminalized. For them, that raises serious questions. If your beliefs about tolerance and equality are genuine, they argue, then distancing yourself from those policies should be an easy decision. But critics point out that Mamdani has not done so. That is where Maher's argument hits hardest. He says you cannot campaign on tolerance while maintaining ties to systems that critics view as intolerant. Whether fair or not, it raises a question many voters are asking. Does Mamdani truly believe everything he promotes on the campaign trail?
Socialism to a degree that I would say is very close to communism. I'm talking about Mamdani. I'm talking about, I think, the mayor in Seattle maybe now.
One of my opponents.
And one of your opponents.
Yes.
Exactly. And again, look, communism is a form of government. You're allowed to back it. You're allowed to be it. You're allowed to vote for it. Let's just not pretend that, one, we haven't tried it a lot around the world and it's a disaster. And two, that if you are, for like seizing personal property, and certain other things that Mamdani or his very close lieutenants have said outright, home ownership is racist. If you are believing these radical things, yes, you are communist.
Mamdani proudly embraces the Democratic Socialist label, but Maher isn't convinced. According to Maher, what Mamdani represents goes far beyond the Scandinavian-style social democracy that many American progressives admire. And this is where Maher draws a major distinction. He isn't attacking Mamdani simply for holding different political views. His argument is about whether those ideas actually work in practice. History, he argues, has repeatedly tested many of these systems with disappointing results. But when it comes to communism, Maher sounds an even louder alarm. He believes some of Mamdani's positions move dangerously close to that territory. To Maher, it's not the friendly version of socialism often discussed in political debates. It's a much more radical worldview packaged in language that sounds appealing. His warning is simple. Changing the packaging doesn't change what's inside.
Socialism has captivated people because everyone has, this is my thought.
Sure.
I feel like people are all hyped on socialism because they're like, everything's so expensive. America's failed. Give me money. But what they're forgetting is all the people that these socialists are saying they're taking the money and giving, they're going to leave. And then they're not going to have any money to take from these people to give to you. I keep telling people the way we get you money is stopping the socialism, letting the successful rich people build businesses, build restaurants, put money into your pocket because there's more jobs, there's more opportunity.
Spencer Pratt delivered what may have been the most powerful argument of the entire discussion, and it immediately grabbed attention. Mamdani and his supporters often focus on taxing the wealthy, redistributing resources, and reducing economic inequality. On the surface, that message sounds appealing to many voters. But Pratt argues there's a major flaw in the idea. Wealthy individuals are highly mobile. They can move their businesses, assets, and investments elsewhere if tax burdens become too heavy. And if enough of them leave, the government loses a major source of revenue. That raises an important question. Who pays for all the programs being promised? Critics argue the burden eventually shifts to the middle class. Pratt's point was straightforward. It's difficult to build an economic system around money that can disappear the moment people decide to leave.
That's how we actually get you more money, to lie to you and tell you, we're going to tax these rich people. We already tax so much in LA, in California. I can't even comprehend taxing more. What's happening is we tax these people, and then other rich people, the champagne socialists, scammers, steal that money because they're all connected to the people taxing it. And then the people that should see the money, the communities, after the Boys and Girls Clubs, the parks, the actual infrastructure doesn't see that money because different rich people.
Spencer Pratt then takes the argument a step further, questioning what happens to the tax money already being collected. According to critics, large amounts of public funding often fail to reach the communities that need it most. Instead of improving struggling neighborhoods, schools, or public services, they argue that too much money gets trapped inside government systems. Pratt points to what critics see as a contradiction. The same political figures demanding more redistribution often operate within the very structures they criticize. Rather than changing the system from the outside, critics argue they become part of it. That creates frustration among voters who hear ambitious promises year after year, but see little meaningful change. To those critics, politicians like Mamdani aren't dismantling a broken system. They're simply trying to gain influence within it.
And I'm sure, Mamdani is watching this right now, as he always does, I'm sure, and saying, exactly, Bill, that's my point. Capitalism terrible. Yeah, it's terrible, except it's still better than the reverse.
Yeah. Well,
you want to really be... Soviet people died at 38 from being drunk all the time because they couldn't take their life under communism.
My girlfriend is Polish. She was born into communism. She lived under it for a little while, and she shakes her head. She's like, they don't know what they're asking for. They don't know what they're talking about.
And it would be so easy to find out. It wasn't like it happened 1,000 years ago.
Exactly.
It happened in our lifetimes.
She would explain to me the grocery card they got. She got a grocery card. Her family got a grocery card, and they would.
This is Poland.
Yeah.
Warsaw.
Yeah, and you were allowed. Your family of 4. You get X amount of milk.
Critics argue that supporters of communist ideas often fail to fully confront the historical record. And for them, the evidence is impossible to ignore. They point to examples such as the collapse of the Soviet Union, China's Cultural Revolution, Cuba's economic struggles, and Venezuela's financial crisis. In their view, these cases reveal a pattern that cannot be dismissed. At the same time, even critics acknowledge that capitalism has serious flaws of its own. Economic inequality, corporate influence, and growing wealth gaps remain major concerns. But they argue there is still a significant difference between reforming a flawed system and replacing it with one they believe has repeatedly failed. That's why critics of Mamdani's ideas insist history deserves a central place in the conversation.
Per week, you get X amount of eggs per week. You get X, and then you take that card to the store, which sometimes didn't have any of the stuff on your card. Sometimes they just had we're long on toilet paper today.
Oh, yeah.
So take some toilet paper, but come back tomorrow and maybe we'll have what's on your list.
It doesn't work. Humans need to be incentivized by selfishness. It is nature to be selfish. Animals are selfish.
Yeah.
Watch them.
Yeah. I heard a song the other day, and it was, of course, all things are exaggerated, but it was basically, capitalism isn't bad because you life.
One argument raised repeatedly in the debate centers on human nature itself. Critics argue that people are naturally driven by self-interest, ambition, and personal goals. They see those motivations as powerful forces behind innovation, economic growth, and individual achievement. According to this view, systems that weaken personal incentives often struggle because they reduce motivation to work harder, take risks, or create something new. Supporters of this argument believe that rewarding effort encourages progress. They contend that when rewards become disconnected from performance, productivity and innovation can suffer. That's why critics claim many forms of collectivist economics face serious challenges. In their view, a successful society must balance fairness with incentives that encourage people to excel.
No, but the waste of human capital. The Polish people, for example, they're a very smart,
crafty,
capable people, and as soon as they threw off the shackles of communism, Poland has done very well since.
They're ascending right now.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah. Warsaw, I'm sure, is a very vibrant, prosperous city.
For a major city, it is unbelievably safe.
Have you gone there?
Yes. Been to Poland, it's beautiful.
So she goes back to see family and stuff?
For many Americans, debates about socialism and communism touch on deeply rooted cultural values. The traditional American ideal has long centered on the belief that hard work, talent, and determination should lead to greater rewards. Critics argue that systems focused on equal outcomes can sometimes weaken that motivation. They believe innovation thrives when people are rewarded for taking risks, building businesses, and developing new ideas. From this perspective, ambition is not a problem to solve, but a strength to encourage. That's why proposals associated with socialism and communism often face strong resistance. Critics worry that removing incentives doesn't just reduce economic growth. They believe it can also reduce creativity, entrepreneurship, and the drive that fuels progress.
Let's give him a chance. Come on, Bill. I'm a born and raised a New Yorker. Let's see what he can do, you know?
What?
Oh, okay. We can. Let's see what he can do. But we already know what he is because it's in his own statements and the people he hires.
Yep.
I talked about him. You say you watch it. You must have seen this. The first show was talking about this woman who is his. Like the head of. But his big issue is the rent. You know, he's the rent is too damn high guy, and that's a good issue. And affordability is a great issue. And but you know, I said, how do I know he's a communist? Well, I'm reading between the lines when he hired someone who says word for word, let's elect more communists.
Some Democrats have rushed to defend Mamdani, arguing that accusations of communism are exaggerated and unfair. They claim his views are often taken out of context and misrepresented by opponents. But Maher rejects that defense. He argues that if voters want to understand a politician's beliefs, they should pay close attention to the people that politician chooses to surround himself with. That's where Maher focuses much of his criticism. He points to allies and advisors whose comments have sparked controversy among critics. One example often mentioned is Zohran Mamdani's association with figures whose views on housing, economics, and race have generated debate. For Maher, those relationships provide insight into the broader direction of a political movement. His argument is simple. A leader's closest allies often reveal as much as the leader's own words.
This is not like something you have to really figure out. Elect more communists. Yeah. That's a communist. Now, if Barack Obama or any reasonable Democrat had anybody on their staff who had that on their resume, it'd be like a huge scandal. But this guy, this is just where we are. Like communism, I said it. I'm not It's a political philosophy. It's an economic philosophy. You're allowed to believe it. You're allowed to vote for it. Let's just not pretend that that's not what this is.
At its core, this entire debate comes down to one question. What kind of future do voters want? Bill Maher, regardless of whether people agree with him, argues that ideas should be tested against reality rather than slogans. The concerns surrounding Zohran Mamdani, his political philosophy, economic proposals, and broader vision have become major topics of discussion among critics and supporters alike. Maher believes voters deserve leaders whose ideas can withstand serious scrutiny and whose policies are grounded in real-world results. He openly argues that capitalism needs reform and improvement, but he also believes replacing it with systems that critics say have failed elsewhere is not the answer. In his view, Mamdani represents a political direction that raises difficult questions, and those questions deserve honest debate. And with that, we wrap up today's video. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button, subscribe for more content, and thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.